Hey everybody, hope you're having a great day. Welcome to the JVology Partner Spotlight show. I'm your host, Krista Inochovsky, and the spotlight is shining bright today on Mary Nunaley. How's it going today, Mary?
It is fantastic. The sun is back out, so I'm back in a good mood.
Oh, super. And what part of the world are you in?
I live in Nashville, Tennessee, so it's right in the south, and we're having a little bit of a cold streak right now. So it's been interesting.
I can second that. I'm a little further south in Orlando, Florida, and it is bright and beautiful today.
Awesome.
Yeah, so before we dive in, I do want to let everybody know that the point of conversation for today is all about course creation and how to do it in a way that's going to help keep people's attention and make sure they actually follow through with it. We work with a lot of coaches, authors, speakers, consultants here at JVology, and whether you do a course or you're thinking about doing one, working with someone just like Mary to do it right is really, really important. So that's kind of where our conversation will head today. But we also want to get to know, what else is interesting about you and all those fun sort of things.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Good. So, all right, best question of the day. I see you're wearing a nice red Christmas sweater. What,
Yes,
what are your
yes.
what are your thoughts? Like, it's kind of the end of the weirdest year of all time. We're headed into the holiday season. What are you most looking forward to?
I'm most looking forward to a fresh 2021. But I think the other thing that I'm looking forward to is just being able to have a warmer Christmas and be able to spend some time outside. Last year, we got to do the holidays playing disc golf with my adult children. So hopefully, we'll get another season like that and have some fun while we're staying socially distanced and safe. What
Yeah,
about
that sounds
you?
Yeah, it is a little bit weird, right, to think about some of the things that we used to love to do that we maybe can't, and just doing some in the car drive-by light shows to see Christmas
Yes.
lights and things like that that we can do safely from the house. Um, but we just keep moving forward, and like you said, I honestly am looking forward to the new year, and really helping people step into what that year is going to be for them with
I
a
agree.
new way, new attitude, and I believe strongly that we need each other, which is what I love about the JVology community, to strengthen that inner kind of gumption of what we need to do to create,
Yes.
and reset for the new year.
Yeah, and I have to say that despite all the craziness of this year, I have met more phenomenal, amazing, giving, caring people as a result of all of us having to stay home than
Mhm.
I probably would have in a quote regular situation. And I've got to meet people from all over the world, which is amazing because normally it would be like I go to my network meetings, I meet these people, they live in my community, and now I have this extended family and of colleagues and friends that are literally scattered almost every continent of the world. So, and the JVology community has been one of those high points for me as well.
Beautiful. I love that you brought that up. It really has been nice that the global reach is happening, and it helps our world get and feel smaller as we're working together on these similar
Yes.
missions. So I just wanted to let everyone know that Mary, you have been building courses for over 20 years.
That is correct. So, in the
Where did that
corporate world,
begin? Tell us.
in the corporate world, I would be called a master instructional designer. So, I have a master's in education. I have, credentials in the corporate world behind me that show that I understand what course building is all about, how adults learn. I
Mm.
homeschooled both of my children. I was on a team that had some built award-winning corporate courses. So, I do have a pretty good understanding of not only what makes a good course, but also how can you build in motivation to help your students or your learners actually want to complete the course. So one of my other passions is the study of gamification and applying behavioral psychology to course creation.
Yeah, I love that. I want to dive into that further. But I'm curious, how how has this changed over 20 years? Like, do you
Uh,
feel that people themselves as the learners are responding differently?
Yes, very definitely.
Tell me what that's looked like for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I was actually on the bleeding edge when colleges started moving to online courses. And at that time, an online course was a professor putting up their PowerPoints. And people accepted it. I took courses on AOL back in the day that were literally just text-based courses where the person who was facilitating the course typed in their notes and then you responded back. So I mean, I've been doing online courses practically since the internet was away from just the corporate higher education and
Right.
military. And so it's really been fun watching the way it's evolved. So now we've got video and we have all of these inexpensive or low cost tools to make better quality courses. What I'm seeing though is that a lot of people still think that talking head videos are the way to engage students. And you're seeing this plethora of courses that it's like, oh, I just picked up my smartphone, I shot some video, boom. And they're forgetting that going to YouTube to learn how to, like, say, fix your faucet is very different than a long-term commitment to an online course where you're trying to help somebody transform their life. So
Okay. So what are they looking for instead?
So I think what they're looking for, like when I go to YouTube, I crochet. So when I go to YouTube, oftentimes I'm working on a pattern and I don't know how to do a particular stitch. So I'm looking for a short 10-minute video where I can actually watch somebody's hands go, okay, here's where you put the hook in, here's where you pull the yarn over. And it's like, it makes sense. I'm not looking for transformation. I'm just
Okay,
looking to to improve a skill.
got
If
it.
I sign up for a course that's, 6 weeks long and it's how to become a better public speaker, I'm also looking for some transformation. And so if I'm just watching videos and there's nothing there to kind of hold my feet to the fire to go, okay, now you have to go practice. Like you can watch all the videos you want on being a better speaker. The only way you're going to become a better speaker is to go out and speak. And
Okay.
so we need to find course creators that are willing to build in ways for their students to practice and get that change and get that transformation.
And that really is the main difference between observing and learning something intellectually and actually taking it in and making it become either a habit, a new skill, a way of being, a way of thinking, which is why people tend to take the same style courses over and over again, right? They may be
Exactly.
interested in this subject, but they didn't allow transformation to happen. Or perhaps the course that they were taking, the instructor didn't really lead them to that, from what you're saying.
That's it. And again, not every course is designed for transformation. I mean,
Mhm.
some courses are strictly factual courses. I want to learn about the history of ghosts in Chicago. Well, I'm not looking to transform. I'm certainly not pretend. I don't want to become a ghost. I just want to learn the history. So, in that case, video lecture, that might be all I need. But if I really am trying, if I'm working with a coach or, as I mentioned, like become a better speaker, there's got to be a place for me to practice and for you as the person teaching this to give me feedback so that I can see that, like, oh, I said the word right 15 times in 5 minutes. Maybe that's something I need to be aware of and change what I'm saying. But if nobody gives me that feedback, I don't transform, I don't change. And yeah, it was an interesting course, but I really haven't evolved.
Okay, so Mary, give me some tactics that you teach when you're teaching people how to create their courses that goes along with just the video. How do you add these elements in to make sure your students are getting the transformation?
Sure. And Krista, that is that like $1 million question. So one of the things that we teach our clients is to first of all break their content into three buckets: the things you absolutely have to know to be successful, the things that are helpful but you don't absolutely need to know, and then everything that you as the coach or the speaker or the course creator want to put into the class because you like it, but it's not going to impact. So the whole less is more is
Okay.
one of the key things. Another principle that we teach is passive and active. So for every 20 minutes of video, roughly, that's passive. They're just consuming content. You need to build in some type of activity, some type of interaction, something that they have to go and do something. Now, there's no guarantee that they're going to do it, but let's use the example of going to the grocery store. I'm teaching a course on better eating and better grocery shopping for the new year. So
Mhm.
I'm teaching about how do you do an inventory of your house and your cabinets and your pantry and get rid of all the not good for you food. So I do my 20-minute video, and then I have an interactive PDF that they can fill out right there on the computer in the course or print out and take an inventory of everything that they have in their pantry. Then when that's finished, they come back and they watch the next video. Now, can I guarantee that they did it? No. But what I can do is add an assignment, whether it's
Mhm.
send me an email, take a quiz, submit it to me, let me look at your list, let me make some suggestions. So now we've gone from a very passive course to a course where there's a little bit more skin in the game from the student to like go and do something so that they can make that change. So
The
those are
sense
some
of
ways.
accountability to
Yeah,
show
some
up
accountability,
and yep.
show up, do it, and then we also build in some games, different kinds of games. You don't have to have gamification isn't always points, badges, leaderboards, but maybe there's Easter eggs that we build into the video. So if you spot I use the mystery Kit Kat bar. I'm talking about healthy eating, and somewhere hidden in the back of the video, there's a Kit Kat bar, and if you see it, send me an email, and then you get some kind of a prize. So it's another way to help them pay attention to what's happening on screen instead of just zoning out.
And that happens more and more often, even without us realizing it. We may have the best intention. I realize that I'm homeschooling my daughter, who's 14, and luckily the courses now are more engaging, and they point and click and drag things and videos in between. So I think that this is the school that she's going to has done a relatively good job of that. And at the same time, I just recognize how easy it is to zone out, and all of a sudden the video's playing and you don't know what's being said.
Exactly.
Yeah. So with that, do you have a suggestion on how short or long any one segment should be?
Sure, and that's a great question. So there's a plethora of research out there that shows that the ideal video for an online course is typically 7 to about 20 minutes, and 20 minutes is on the long side. And a lot of creators think, "Oh no, I have to spend an hour getting this out there." But what happens is people just zone out. And if you think about commercial television,
Mhm.
a 60-minute TV show still has commercial breaks built in. And it's very rarely, even on a late night talk show, the monologue only goes for about 10 minutes tops. And there's still interplay between the audience, the band, whatever. And so it's not just one person talking at you the whole time. And I think as course creators, we often forget that. So if you keep it short, again, less more often, I would rather watch 10-minute videos than one 90-minute video because it's going to keep my attention. And let's say I have kids at home that are younger. I don't often have an hour to just sit in front of the computer and watch a video, but I can do 10 minutes. I can do 10
Right.
minutes when I'm, waiting in the car. I can do 10 minutes. And so it makes the content easier to consume and easier to remember.
Yes. And there's no limit on how many videos that there has to be. So
Oh,
it's
no.
better to do multiple short videos and get that sense of progress through and a sense of accomplishment. And like you mentioned, if you get interrupted, now you know where to stop and where to pick back up again.
Exactly. And most, course platforms, whether it's Kajabi or Teachable, Thinkific, and there's a lot of others out there, have a progress bar too. So as you watch each video, you also get that sense of accomplishment of, oh, I'm 50% there. Oh, I'm 60% there. And so you know what that end goal is in
Right.
addition to that transformation that you're trying to accomplish.
Great. Well, I appreciate all of what you're sharing with us. It's really useful and very helpful, not only in creating a full course, but even just how we deliver on Facebook Lives, on trainings,
Mhm.
and in lots of different ways. I think we have to be. And I do a lot of video myself, and I can get on and I can talk, 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 smooth as can be. And I'll break it up, not because I needed to edit it. I'll break it up just so that there's different shots,
Right.
even if it's like a transition where it's like, she zoomed in and zoomed
Mhm.
out, something like that. So people are like, oh, almost like reminds them to pay attention when there's something visually or audibly there that kind of startles them.
Right. And again, I'm not saying you can't do an hour-long video, but don't do an hour-long video of you just looking at the camera going, and now I'm going to
Blah,
talk
blah,
to you
blah.
about because everybody just zones out. And so yeah,
Completely.
there might be that one person who watches, but that's part of why things like YouTube and Facebook have metrics of who watched for 30 seconds, who watched for 3 minutes, and then there's usually a big drop off.
Yes.
somewhere after that 7 or 8 minute mark where people are just like, no, not hold my attention, got to go.
Got it. So tell us about the down to earth course creation. Where'd you get the name? Which is, I like it. Is there a little meaning behind that?
So,
And how can we
yeah,
engage in your program?
down to earth, my company is Lavender Dragon Team, but down to earth is that we've seen and we've taken a lot of courses ourselves. And one of the things we wanted to do is get people's feet back on the ground to say, there is that unicorn that can build a course in 24 hours or that can build a course in a weekend. Coming from the background of someone who's really built courses professionally most of my working life, even when you have all the content, it's very difficult to do that in a short period of time. So we wanted to get people back down to earth and go, in 90 days, you can have a course if. And so what we do in the course is the first 30 days, you don't even touch your course. You are thinking about finding your audience, who's your niche, do you have the right
Mm,
idea? What kind of assets do you need? Do you need permission for your assets? You can't, just because it's on Google doesn't mean that you can use it. So, making sure that you have an outline and you've started doing some of that pre-marketing work. So all the things that bring you down to earth instead of build the course, then go, how come no one's buying it? And we use an instructional design principle called ADDIE: analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. So that first 30 days is really the whole analysis piece. The second 30 days is the fun part. So kind of think about, if you're pregnant and you're having a child, that first trimester is like, oh, what's going on? Everything's new, and you're like, but you're getting advice. That middle part of the trimester is just like the middle 90 of our middle 90 days is now you're doing the hard work. So
mm.
you're designing, you're building, you're actually testing. And that's leading you into the implementation, evaluation, and then launching. So that last 90 days is like, I'm all excited. Now I have a course, I've tested it, it works. So we take you through that entire process. And at the end of it, you should have a solid course if you have the time to work on it. And that's the other part that so many course creators don't build into their lives is how many hours it actually takes. So we have you build a budget for your time and for your
Mm.
money.
Wow, I really love that. And I just want to do a shout out. Glory Ollie was saying hello.
Oh,
Uh,
hello.
and James Lamb is in there saying hi
Oh, hi.
too.
Hello, hello.
Yes. You know, it's so critically important. We as entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, and we want to get our message out there, we hear so many different things that we can do. And like, oh, create a course. And sometimes we just kind of throw together what we're seeing out there. But there's so much value in working with you for that timeline to help us budget our finances, our time, have a clear path, and follow someone with 20 years of experience in this world of how to really put it together systematically and go through looking at it like you said, a trimester at a time, like 1, 2, 3, go through each phase. The last thing we want anyone to do is just put something together and then realize, well, it wasn't tested, or there's something in the course that I'm not allowed to be sharing. It looks
Right.
like there's a lot of steps that you help people both overcome and mistakes you help them prevent making just right off the get-go.
Exactly. And we want people to succeed and we want you to be proud of what you put out there. And we also want everyone to realize though that whether it's cooking a gourmet meal, whether it's having a child, whether it's building a house, building a course, you have to budget time and money. And
Mm.
if you don't, you're either going to get frustrated or it's just not going to be a successful launch. There's going to be errors, there's going to be problems.
And that's even more costly and more time to
Exactly.
get it
Or
done.
you just give up and go, "Oh, this just doesn't work." How come they said that I could do this and I'm not having that result? And, being realistic and looking at your life and your audience and saying, "Okay, here are the things you need to do." If nobody knows who you are, it's going to take you a little bit more time to build an audience too, to launch that course too, because you're competing against hundreds of other course creators.
Absolutely. And that's really why what you do with Down to Earth course creation and JVology are such a great combination, because as you're learning the course, you're also involved in a community that's getting to know you, love you for what you do. And then by the time the course is ready, you've got a community of people that are ready to joint venture with you, to share what you're up to. And
Yes.
so it what makes such a great collaboration.
It really is. It's fantastic, and just from being in the community, the number of people who have reached out and said, "How can I support you? How can I tell my audience about this?" I mean, it's just unreal. Because a year ago that never would have happened.
Oh, great. And so, Mary, you said that you're going to be sharing this for the first time in the JVology giveaway?
That is correct.
Very exciting. Well, that happens next week, starting on the 16th of
Yes.
December. And Mary, you can drop links in the comments and share with us so people know how to reach out to you. Or, of course,
Okay.
if you're listening, you can leave a message in the comments or reach out to Mary directly on either Facebook, or if you're catching us on YouTube, connect with her there.
Yes, and I appreciate everybody stopping by and watching, and look forward to connecting with everyone in the real world one day too.
Yeah, me too. All right, Mary, thanks so much. And we'll see you real soon.
Sounds good. Thanks.